Yo, what's up guys? This is going to be the video talking about keeping the Teshar is the biggest mistake you can make on a beginner account, or I think on any account. So we have this event and I do really recommend to pick Teshar, but I also do really recommend to switch off Teshar. I wanted to make this video later, maybe I'll do like a reiterated version after the balance patch on this later, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit more food for thought and you have some more days to think about it. So there's about 16 days left. On the last day or on the second to last day or something, I highly recommend you to remove this Teshar. Keep in mind it costs 1,000 crystals, so that's also why I wanted to make this video a little bit earlier, because it would be pretty sad that if you use all of your crystals and then you'd be like, wait, I wanted to switch off my Teshar, but I can't right now. Another thing to keep in mind, if you want to switch off the Teshar, do check if he has runes on the RTA side. That's mostly the part, like you need to unequip everything from him kind of style, not use him anywhere, don't have a skin on him, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So for that reason, you would have to make sure that he's unruined over there. But why is it the biggest mistake you can make to keep the Teshar? Well, the Teshar is good for one thing and one thing only. And that one thing only is only giants. It is not good anywhere else. Probably I ruined the team by missing a rune somewhere or something like that. I haven't farmed giants in a little bit, but you get the idea. It's only good for giants. But it's say giants is the main dungeon that everyone is farming. Yes, but also no. Because I think there's a lot of people just sitting in giants mindlessly day in, day out, feeling like, I just need to get quad swift speeds. Well, you're not going to get many of those. I have to break it to you, man. You're just not going to get many of those. Like, that's just a simple fact. Plus, you can farm giants in a bunch of different ways. I do have a bunch of videos where I already do giants without Teshar. I will link all of those in the description down below. Will those be harder to rune? Yes, those will be harder to rune. But what if you don't have the runes? Then I can't farm anymore if I remove the Teshar. Well, then get your ass to Necro, get those runes that you need to farm giants, and then get your ass back into giants, because farming Necro is a really good dungeon to improve your account overall. You're gonna get good rage runes, you're gonna get good will runes, and you need those regardless, plus the other sets that are in there. A little bit of Destroy is good for Siege, a little bit of Nemesis is also good for Arena Defense and good for Siege. Also good for RTA, and a little bit of Vampire Runes is also good for pretty much every content in the game, except for PvE. So definitely a whole bunch of things that you can do in there. What will be my team the moment I switch out the Teshar? I most likely will go for a Julie into a Lucian, and then try to get in a Kyle, and Kyle kind of go for the cleanup. Or maybe not even the Lucian. Maybe I'll just go straight into a Kyle. So Julie into Kyle, and then boosting up the Kyle 3 more times with an homunculus at the end. Something along those lines, or maybe just go for like a Julie, Kyle, Luna, and then the homunculus, and then you need your Prelia still. Like something along the lines of that is what I will use, and I think I can get enough damage with that, and you really don't need the Teshar for that. Will I need a pretty good Julie for that? Yes. Will I already have that kind of Julie at the moment? No, I don't think so, because mainly the big issue that you're missing on that, did I even build a Julie just yet? No, I didn't even build a Julie just yet. You need the skill up for that. The skill ups might take you a little bit of time to get. That is definitely a thing for this one. It doesn't have fully unskilled up as well. So it might take you a little bit of time to get the skill ups in there. However, what you can use is this HOH event to get those skill ups, because at first there's a few units that are very useful for you to get. But at some point, you kind of run out of things that are very useful to get. And since there's 16 days left, you still have 2 more days on this. You could simply just pick up, I'm pretty sure that there is some of the Julie family in here. Yeah, you could pick up a Pirate in here. I also did pick up this guy already in there. But might you say, it's like, isn't it better to go for like a Mir or this or that? Sure, those are decent to good units. I would definitely make sure that you pick up the Gemini, probably a Leo May, but it's already not really sure if you super hard need it. I would go for Lucas, is definitely recommended. I would go for an Amduet, which is very recommended. I would go for Luna, that's very recommended. But afterward, it's kind of depending on like, okay, a Mir might be good, but it's not crazy. And there's most of those out there, like Surfboard Jasmine. It's good, but it's also not crazy, like you have to have it kind of style. So that's where you could go for a few skill ups. In the end, of course, it's better to go for more unique units. If you do already have those skill ups, or you can still do the skill ups from the other event, then definitely get those in there. I would definitely have to start working on a Julie, but that is definitely a way to do it. But might you say, I totally don't have the runes for the Julie and that kind of stuff. Not a problem whatsoever, because if you just go into Giants and you use a Shaman, you use a Veramos, you use a Balladion, you use a Prillia, Prillia should be over here, and then you use in the final slot a Crow, that will run Giants. It's going to be slow. Yes, of course it's going to be slow. But will it succeed? Yes, it will succeed. And that is the main thing. Let me just show you a run on that, like just to showcase, like sure, but it's going to be a lot slower. It's going to be a lot slower. Well, like, dude, you probably, if you don't have the runes to make a better team, you probably don't have infinite amount of crystals anyway. So I don't really see the problem. If you want to run anything a little bit faster, get your ass into Necro, because Necro is super easy to farm nowadays. And with that super easy to farm nowadays, you can actually get better runes. And with those better runes, then you can go back into Giants. It's as simple as that. Life sometimes is super simple. So we have all of those. We could go for a Luna in here, but I think the Homunculus would probably do better. Team like this, yeah, should totally work. So this, I did not optimize the runes for this whatsoever. I did not change the runes for this whatsoever. I don't even care what the runes are on this whatsoever at the moment. They're probably not on full crit rates. They're not on the right tuning probably. But this will run Giants. It's as simple as that. And these are probably all units that you did already build. So you can still do Giants, it's just a bit slower. That is the main thing. But then the next question, what are you going to be replaced? I think this Shaman has like either no crit rate or I think it has 85 crit rate, but 85 crit rate does not look like 85 crit rate at the moment. But then the next question, of course, what do you switch the Teshar for? That is a thing. There is no one answer. The answer is based on what you want to focus on, and the answer is based on what your account already has. But I will give a bunch of examples in just a second of the strong pairs, because that's the main thing that you're looking for. You're looking to make a strong pair between a unit you already have, plus the unit you're going to be picking. And there are a bunch of options. I will first showcase the options that other people, if they did not pick a Teshar, they went for. And I will showcase if they're good, and then I will go into a list where I can showcase, like, okay, if you have this unit already, you probably want to pick up that unit. If you have that unit and you want to focus on this content, you want to pick that unit. But just to showcase you, first of all, yes, you can still run Giants. It's not that if you remove your Teshar, it's like, no, I can never do Giants again. No, you can still run Giants like this. Is it a lot slower? It is a lot slower. But then again, make a fast team by getting your ass into Necro, getting your ass into SF, getting your ass into any of the other dungeons, because like just non-stop farming Giants is not gonna get you anywhere on your account in the first place. Sure, it's a really good dungeon. Would recommend to at some point for you to go back to Giants, but first focus on the other dungeons to make like a more stable, good account right there. So let's see what is the event saying that other people have been picking if they are not picking a Teshar. So we can check that over here. We have a Leo, really good option. We have a Tiana, really good option. We have a Rika, could be better of an option. Liam is a really bad option once again, because Liam is only good for dragons. Besides that, you're probably never going to be using Liam. And in most cases, for a lot of people feeling that he can actually kill their Giants, it probably doesn't. Cyrus, really good option. For Rat, I would argue a bad option, because a Tyrone you get for free is arguably better than that. Nora, really good option. Laika, I've never understood that one, bad option. And then this Demon, kind of a bad option as well. Let's then see for existing players, still a lot of these, still a lot of those. Bad options, both of them, not recommended. Leo, good option. Rika, I think there's better options out there. Bad option, really good option. Little bit outdated option, wouldn't really recommend to go for that. Zyros, good option. Vanessa, not a bad option, but not crazy good neither. And a Nora. So those are the options I do see. So let me go through the options that I think are very strong, and what kind of pairs would I recommend that if you have something already, what can you pair with those. So here we have a whole bunch of units, and these are also mainly the units that I would recommend to be thinking of selecting in the first place. Like this one is just to showcase something that I have later. This to showcase that it's not really great, so I think that these are kind of on the side. But the units you see here on the top, I think are all good choices depending on what you already have. Like in my case, I do already have this. I can put a Galleon next to that, so Tiana becomes a super strong pair for me, which is also one of the most likely chances on my Safe War Guardian account that I will be picking, because this is just a super strong combination. Were you to already have a Tiana, then getting something like a Zyros would be super interesting because Zyros is the best damage dealer AoE in slot that there is. I would say that the Yuji is the second best. So for that reason, it depends on what kind of pairs can you already make. So let's say you already have a Tiana, then a Zyros might be a super interesting pick for you. But if you don't have a Tiana just yet, a Zyros is not going to be as crazy for you. And that is the main thing that you have to be looking at. If you already have X, you should be looking at maybe adding in Y. And that's the thing, like I've seen a bunch of people like pick Rikas, but I think in most cases, an Amber is going to do way more work for you because an Amber has way stronger pairs with her. Let's say you already have a Nora Amber, super strong offense. Let's say you already have a Trix, super strong offense. Let's say you already have a Lamila. One of the best offenses in game is the combination of these three. So let's say you already have 2 out of 3, add in the third. And that is the main thing that you do want to be looking at. Same thing, for example, if you have like one of the strongest siege defense, but also the strongest auto team in Arena, which is going to be these 3, add in a Veramos, easiest auto team in the game. If I were to have on my alt 2 out of 3 out of those, I would 100% pick the third. No matter what I already have on the other units or don't have, if I could have this team together on the alt, it would be so nice. And why is this so nice? You can start your arena brush super high because you can just literally auto a lot of people. You don't need crazy runes for this team. Just add in a Veramos, make everything super slow. Don't go for this weird shit where it's like, oh yeah, I use my Feng Yang on other styles as well, so my Feng Yang is plus 120. No, get that shit out of here. Make your Feng Yang plus like 30 speed. Make this thing plus 30 speed. And this is one of the best teams you can have on any account. The second for like, same for this one. If I were to have like 2 out of 3 on these already, I would absolutely go for the third in here, but I don't have any of those. I would say that a few are replaceable. You could definitely replace this one over here. Oh, wait, did it go behind? Yeah, it did go behind. Let's say you have this combination, 2 out of 3. I would still go for the third. Absolutely. So also, if I were to have a Nora in the first place, I would probably go for an Amber rather than going for Tiana for my Yuji. So that's definitely a thing out there as well. Would you be more focused in like single target cleaving and that kind of stuff? Also very good for siege offense. If you already have a Sonya, Adriana is probably your best pair. If you already have a Rigna, probably Adriana is your best pair. Do you already have an Adriana but not one of those two? I would probably go for the Rigna because it's a lot easier to rune than the Sonya, because Sonya needs that threshold, needs that crit rate, whereas Rigna's just like, I need the speed and I need to have crit damage. Crit rate don't matter, exact speed don't really matter, attack don't matter, just go for whatever. So if you already have that Adriana, then probably a Rigna is a good pick. Would you be more looking at siege defense kind of style? I actually did not add in Triton, but Triton is an option that if you're thinking about siege defense, if you already have the Vanessa plus a Triton, that is the most common defense out there. I did see a bunch of people pick up Byunchos, but to be honest, I think Camilla is going to do way more work for you than a Byuncho will ever do. So if you add this plus a Triton, it's one of the most common defenses in higher ranks out there. So that's definitely options that you could go for as well. And it's just as simple as that. Like, there's no one best unit that everyone's like, oh, everyone should get their Leo. Sure, Leo's most unique, but if you don't have a good pair with Leo, it's not really going to do that much. I could go for a Leo for a Christina. I do have the Leo Christina hit then. But then again, in current meta, it's not used as much because you kind of want to be hitting things that don't AoE strip. And nowadays, pretty much every defense has an AoE strip because of Triton. So for me, most likely, it's going to be the pair of my Rig, because I don't have the Yuji, I have the Rig version, plus a Tiana. I think that's the strongest pair I can make. But I will wait until the last day to see if I don't happen to pull anything else. Because if I were to pull, let's say, an Amber, then I would absolutely go for Trix. If I were to pull a Lamila, I would absolutely go for an Amber. And those kind of things as well. Like if I were to pull a Amber itself, I would probably go for Trix. Like, I think the pair of them is the strongest. She's more like the third one that makes it really strong. But if I could get this kind of offense on my ult, I will be zooming through all of my arena offense. I'm telling you, man, that offense is so incredibly strong. And I've made other videos about it, how it would work. Were I to pull a Feng Yang, for example, then I'd probably go for an Alaya, because the Leo is not a 100% must need. It just makes it a lot easier to rune because you can put both of them to like 0 speed. But if I were to pull the Unfair Bear, I would definitely go for an Alaya. If I were to pull a Leo, I would probably go for a Feng Yang, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, because you could still technically do this with just a Riley next to it and then hope for the Alaya later. But I would say with the Leo, you still have, like, that's why if you have none of these units, would you really go for Leo by itself? I'm not too sure, because Leo kind of needs a strong pair to actually become good. But then again, for arena offense, I could probably find something else with more of like just 4-star units, which also scale on HP or defense, where you can still get a decent amount of damage in. And once again, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a strong pair. Once again, if you do have any questions on what units should you maybe pull, there is a link in the description to my Discord with progression help, and people can help you out with that question over there. Keep in mind, you have 16 days left on that event right there, and you have to have 1,000 or like 1,000 points to actually make that switch. But I highly, once again, recommend making that switch, because the biggest mistake you can do is keeping the Teshar in here. Because keeping the Teshar in here just means like you can farm giants. It's not good for anything else. Like sure, maybe a few side PvE things here and there, but you're keeping your strongest resource. Like Countess is never pretty much given as strong as a resource as a selection Nat5, and you're just gonna throw that towards farming giants, which you can already farm giants without the Teshar. Add in something that can make you do something else, and therefore you can progress faster. Or just, besides all of these units, get the unit you like most, the most cool unit in game. And that could be anything that you would say is like, yo, I always wanted to have this unit, and it's just cool, but because everyone said I had to farm giants, I went for the Teshar. Fuck this Teshar out of here and get your cool unit. That's just my high recommendation right there. Get a unit you do really like, or a unit that can progress you towards getting more stuff. Because the moment I get a better unit for Arena, I can get a higher rank in this, I can get more crystals, I can farm those more crystals. The moment I get a higher rank in Siege or more victories in Siege, I get better rewards, I can get more crystals, I can farm more. And that is the main thing. If you want to play effective, if you want to play to the best potential of your account, you're trying to get all of those free-to-play crystals in there, so you don't have to spend, but you're still getting a good amount of resource, and therefore you should also do your rival battles, but I've been slacking on the alt a little bit. But that is all for this video. Let me know in the comments if you're still keeping your Teshar or not after this video, and what is going to be your potential change based on what arguments, because that's the main thing. A lot of people, of course, would like to see is like, I say, pick Tiana, and everyone's like, okay, I pick Tiana, I don't have to think. No, the thing is you actually have to think on what you have, and based on what you have, a strong pair is a lot more value than an individual good unit. You build teams, you don't build individual units. But keep in mind, you still have 16 days and there is a balance patch coming up soon. So do wait for that balance patch. Do wait all the end until like 1 or 2 days left before you make that switch, because you could be pulling something else. That's it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. See you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.